stopping by Pete's Garage. Well, now that I have the body on the Cobra brought together and glued to the firewall, that changed the dimensions of the front end of the car. So the side pipes don't fit right. Had a couple problems with the side pipes, so we're going to do some side pipe work, including installing brand new polished stainless steel side pipes. Let's get to work. So this is the problem. The body, I took the body and the body was pulled in further, which means now the pipe is further away from the body. That's one of the problems. And the other problem is, when I originally put this together and welded it, this pipe is down at an angle. It's not up here, it should be up here more, so it's parallel with the bottom of the body rather than angling down. And when I put it down on the ground, the back of the pipe is only a couple inches from the ground, which is a problem, okay? So the other problem is the O2 sensor. Now I got the bung for the O2 sensor, which is right here. And you can see that if I go to put this in here, it hits the body. So the geometry change for this, I got to relocate the bung and do a whole bunch of different things. So I have new side pipes. Let me take this pipe off and we'll put the new pipe up there and we'll see what it looks like. Now as I look under here with the pipe off, I have a couple problems. First of all, when I brought the body in, it was right in the middle of these pipes, so I had to sand this back to make clearance for the pipe. The second thing was this flange that was welded in here, since that pipe was at an angle and this pipe now has to sit in closer, I have to cut these pipes. So what I had to do is cut this flange off where it was welded, take the flange off. Now I have to just clean up these pipes here and put that flange back on so it's sitting back perfect. So the pipe, when I put it on here, the angle of the pipe when it comes out, the angle here, fits just outside the body. Alright, now I have the pipe cleaned up and the flange cleaned up on the other side, so it's nice and clean. It doesn't matter on this side because the pipe bolts up there, the side pipe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the side pipe on now, and I have this, you see I have this further on the pipe here. That's so I can clamp up the side pipe to this flange and pull the side pipe and position it where it needs to be on these pipes. So I can tack weld it in place on the header so that it's perfectly aligned on the body. Alright, here it is. Gorgeous, polished stainless steel side pipe. So after I did all that stuff with the flange and reset that and angled it correctly, now you can see the pipe comes out and it's level down with the body. I have a level here. It's slightly pitched downward so that if there's any moisture it will run out the back, but only slightly. And not only that, you can see it's even with the body, and I have equal spacing all the way down the side pipe. Now the O2 bung, instead of welding it, and I have to weld it somewhere in this collector here, you need your O2 sensor somewhere where it's going to collect all the gases. You don't just weld it in one pipe, because if you weld it in one pipe, the EFI system will only tune to that one cylinder. So you have to mount it in the collector. Instead of welding a bung right here in the collector on the bottom, I have a 90-degree adapter, and this is great because it's got the threads for the O2 sensor right there. And since it's a 90-degree adapter for it, I can take this and put this underneath here and angle it in so I don't have to worry about my wires, number one, hitting the frame, and I can route them up through the firewall nice and neat. So this adapter is going to work out great. Let me show you underneath where this flange is and what the problem I had was, and if you're doing a similar job or you're mounting pipes, I'm going to show you what happened and why my pipes ended up the way they did. Now as I look at the pipes, the way the side pipes come down from the engine and go to the flange right here, the problem is if I take this side pipe off and take out the bolts, I'm not positive that the flange will stay exactly where it's supposed to be, and you run the risk, if that moves, the side pipe will be completely off. That is what I did the first time. So what I'm going to do is, now that I have this all bolted up and everything is sitting exactly the way it's supposed to sit, see if I can get a shot underneath here. I'm going to come behind here, I'm going to put a tack weld behind the flange on each one of these pipes, just to hold it in place so that when I take the pipe off, it won't move, and I can weld all of those pipes from the inside. Now with this tack welded in place, and now it's nice and straight, it stayed that way, I could take the pipe off and try and weld that header inside the vehicle and do all kinds of gymnastics to get around and weld it correctly. But I think I'm going to take it off and pull that header off and weld it outside of the vehicle. Alright, you can see with the header out of the vehicle, it's a lot easier to weld that. So now I can weld these all up and put it back in. All right, got the pipe on, and it's on nice and sturdy there. You can see that it doesn't move, nice and straight, and it ended up right where I tack welded it. Now I've got to weld this bung in place for the O2 sensor. And if you do any work, if you weld any threaded parts like this bung is welded onto the end of this tube, when you go to thread this together, the chances are that the threads are going to be a little screwed up just from being welded and heated up, and you can see it doesn't thread in there very easy. So I have a tap. I'm just going to tap this out before I line this up. I will have to tack weld this in place while it's on the car because it has to be in a very specific spot. I'll pick that spot, we'll drill some holes, and I'll get a tack weld. Well, looking from underneath here, it looks like the best place to mount the O2 sensor is going to be somewhere right in here. Right between these two pipes. I think I'm going to mount it somewhere right around here. And this fits perfectly right here because, for number one, it's right in between those two pipes, so I can use that as alignment. Which means I won't have to tack weld it underneath the car. I can take this pipe back off and weld it out of the car, weld it off the car, and this is a good spot because when you're standing there you won't see the O2 sensor, so it's kind of hidden. And then I got a good, if I put it here, this wire can go back up into the engine compartment, and it'll be a nice bend there. You won't see the whole thing, so it'll be kind of hidden. So I think that'll work out pretty good. Take the pipe back off and we'll weld this up. Alright, I'm going to mount this right here, and I put a red mark there so I make sure I drill it on the right side because I don't want to drill into a $600 side pipe and screw it up. So I'm going to mount it right there, but first I have to drill a hole. Now since this pipe is bent, it's not really a circle, it's kind of oblong, a little oval, but I'm going to drill a hole here. And what I'm going to use is these drill bits. These step drill bits. I just got these from Banyan Imports on Amazon. 23 bucks for this whole set. Comes in this real nice aluminum case. 5 pieces. I always share good stuff when I get it, and I share it with everybody. So Banyan Imports, look them up. Get a set of these. They're awesome. So I'm gonna drill the hole with this large one first. Okay, perfect size. Now since the side pipe is polished, I polished the fitting so it's polished as well. So now I can tack this in place and weld it. Alright, here's the side pipe mounted. As you can see, nice and stiff. It's mounted correctly and nice and straight. And also the O2 sensor, which is underneath the back, now is completely hidden. Can't see that, which is what I wanted to do. Now I'll just do the same thing on the other side. Now these pipes are the stainless steel pipes from Factory 5, and I found that most of the parts from the Factory 5 Roadster fit on this car as well. Now that I have the pipes mounted, I just have to make some minor modifications to get the hangers right, and we're ready to fire it up, try out these new pipes. Thanks for stopping by Pete's Garage.